Okay, so we're talking about putting together a series of video blogs for our audience to gather some of the valuable content that we're releasing online via video rather than having to read through a heap of text. But we thought before we got too deep into episodes and episodes of why you shouldn't buy Holden Captivas, we'd give you maybe the story behind how GDL got started, maybe some of the people that helped us get to where we are, and where we're planning to go from here. So it all started back around 2008, 2009, when at the time I was working full time for a garage off the side of a service station down in Manly. I was living in Crow's Nest at the time and I didn't own a vehicle, which is very ironic for a motor mechanic. So I was catching a bus down into Manly and then walking over to the servo every day. My boss at the time very generously gave me a Daewoo Lanos, which was unregistered and barely running, and I got that thing going and had a car. So using that car, I then was encouraged greatly by the minister at my church at the time that perhaps the best thing for my career would be to branch out and set up on my own. Not willing to take the full leap at once. Looking back now, I probably could have, but hindsight's a fantastic thing. I started doing work for friends and family after hours and kept my full-time job. This very quickly showed that this business model um, was profitable, even though it was just me operating as a mobile mechanic. So I was operating out of mum and dad's carport. They lived in Forestville at the time, and was doing it after hours. So I was picking up my clients' vehicles using this Daewoo that I'd been given on the way home from work, carrying out repairs and servicing, rolling around in the rain and mud and dirt and whatever had to happen, and then returning the vehicle, usually quite late at night or early morning, with keys in letterboxes and things like that. Getting a few hours sleep and then heading back to my day job from 7:30 to 5:30. This went on for a couple of years until I was operating at minimal sleep. As I built up a clientele, I was starting to get to the stage where I couldn't fit all the work in, and I was running on 2 or 3 hours sleep a night, which I don't advise. So I took the leap and resigned from my full-time job and operated full-time as the mobile mechanic, mainly based out of mum and dad's place. However, we had discovered that the clients really liked and saw an appeal in that pickup service that we were offering. We were initially offering that simply because I had to get the vehicles to mum and dad's place at an hour that was inconvenient for my clients. However, that had developed a taste in them for the convenience offered, so we, through demand, kept offering that pickup service, and that's kind of become our point of difference years and years down the track. Is we never got rid of that model, and we still pick the cars up. So going back to the carport in Forestville, we operated out of there for a couple of years, built the clientele up. Full credit to my church network who backed me and my friends and family, which is where it all started at. I remember looking back now, I remember needing one job a day to keep the doors open, so to speak. Ironically, we're now averaging about 15 to 18 jobs a day, and one job a day would sink us, but that was the startup phase, I guess you'd call it. At some point, a few years after we got up and operating, mum and dad separated and had to sell the property. So I put a call out to my network of contacts that I was using, and the boys at Narrabeen Towing very generously rented me extremely cheaply a one-bay workshop that they had established at the back of the towing yard. So my operation moved to Narrabeen. We kept the pickup service, and we operated out of Narrabeen Towing for a few years. We wouldn't be where we are now, if it weren't for Narrabeen Towing and the Seymour family and what they did for us. Um, they really gave us a leg up and helped us get to where we are. They brought in a lot of work for us, business advice when I was still very raw in business. And we eventually got to the stage where we outgrew narrowbeam towing. So then we went on the hunt and we located one of the 2 stores that we're still operating out of in Warriewood. And we bought that and started buying up some equipment to establish the store as our own. That started as a 1-bay shop, and a little time in there we built a 2nd bay and put on our first staff member. That's when Johnny came on board. And slowly over the years expanded that into a 3rd bay. And then in about, what are we in now, 2018, so it would have been about 2016, we got too big for this shop, and so we acquired a 2nd one on the same site, and now operating 5 bays out of 2 different sites. With us at its peak, I think we had 13 staff. Some of that was job share. Currently, I think we're at 7 staff, with a gross turnover of about 1.3 million a year. So we've got some future plans to set up some sister stores, take that business model that we're finding works quite well. We've systemized the business. It very efficiently runs without me here. Anybody can come in, learn our systems and operate GDL, and the idea being that a client could have an exact identical experience at a sister store as they have at the Warriewood store without me being the point of contact. So yeah, that's kind of the story to date. Yeah, and to be fair to a lot of people, we never have got here without the help of other people. No one ever really makes it on their own. We have to take our hats off to narrowbeam towing, to my parents who offered that initial workspace to us free of charge, particularly the church networks that I'm part of. I would not have got this business off the ground if it weren't for them, and obviously our friend network, who have and still unconditionally support the business. So thank you, and watch this space for some exciting developments in the coming years.